Washington fans, we've got head coach Kalen DeBoer in the house. As you guys arrive here in Houston, what's the big message, big points of emphasis for your group to handle this week?
Yeah, just be them. Do what they do, and everything that's got us to this point. So, we've got a lot of maturity on this team, and they know how to handle these big moments.
I know a big slogan for you guys the last handful of weeks has been jobs
I get to keep it?
Yeah. What will it require in a battle of undefeateds for a national title?
Yeah, it'll require great preparation, and that preparation leads to confidence, and confidence leads to success on game day. So we're working hard to make sure that preparation is intact and where it needs to be.
Well, they got a lot of superstars on their team, so not surprised.
And the Washington Huskies all getting set to take the podium, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice to see you too. Yep, just a couple times. Yeah, go ahead. It's all good. They got the drone out here, like, ugh. Yeah. I think they're looking for someone specific, to be honest with you. Maybe a quarterback, you know. I don't know. Yeah. Got the drone out here. Ugh. I'll move the water bottle. For Charlotte, all right. All right. Appreciate it. Anchorage, Alaska. Yeah.
I had a couple friends who grew up in Alaska.
Okay.
10 years ago. It was awesome.
Really? You enjoyed it? Okay. Where in Alaska?
They were from Anchorage.
Anchorage? Okay, yeah, that's where I'm from. Yeah.
So one of them, his parents still live there, but he went up like a bunch of us for like summer, so we like went on a hike like midnight.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Oh yeah. Always there.
Experience on that midnight.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was like it got a little bit darker, but like not much.
Okay.
Like I think the winters are brutal.
No, terrible. Absolutely
Your
terrible.
family's still there?
They live in Vegas, but I got a lot of like aunts and uncles that still are out there. So yeah.
Vegas is a little easier to
A lot nicer. You know, more appealing, easier to convince someone to visit. So.
Alaska is, we went up to Seward too. For like
Okay.
a day trip. It was nice.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it.
Okay.
Recommend in the summer, not the winter. Not a big fan of.
Like, I said to my mom, I was like, this place is awesome. Like, why would you really? She's like, we're here in the summer.
Yeah.
Winter's rough. She's
Yeah.
like, that's why you're like, I can do enjoy the summer.
Yeah.
It's brutal.
Like unless you're trying to go skiing or like you're all into all that, there's not much I could, you know.
Let's get this over with.
Yeah, let's get this bad boy. Yeah. Yep.
Man, I've seen you guys a lot this year, man.
Yeah.
Technology. We're good. All right, soft got 3, 2, 1. I've seen you guys 4 times this year.
Yep.
And you guys find a way. I mean, you're a very clutch team. When you hear that word clutch, how do you incorporate that to the mentality of this particular team?
I incorporate it with just the thoughts of winners win. You know, like every single time we get out there on the field, we're trying to win games, and you know the fact that we're trying to be resilient. It's the same thing in certain one-on-one battles that we go through, like whether it's like conditioning or it's like bench press, where it's just like, you know, like no matter what type of opposition's against us, we're trying to win. You know, and it doesn't matter if it's a 45-pound plate, another person, you know, or another city. You know, at the end of the day, you just want to win. You know, every single person in this world, you know, wants to be winners, and you know, you got to get through your obstacles. So, for us to be clutch, it's just, you know, it's just our will to win. You know, we're gonna fight to the last second every single time we get the chance to.
You go up against one of the most prolific offenses in all of college football. How does that sharpen your side of the ball, seeing those guys every single day?
Just discipline. Just allows us to be way more disciplined. Where if we make a mistake, then our offense is gonna capitalize that on every single chance they can get. So when we're playing these high-ranked teams, talented teams like Texas, Oregon, Michigan, you know, we already know that the margin of error is so small, but there's no pressure to that because we've been trained to do that, you know, on a week in and week out basis.
The captain of the Washington Huskies, Edefuan Ulofoshio, here with us on ESPN Radio.
Yeah.
obviously I had you guys against the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah.
There was some noise that was being talked to the Longhorns beforehand. Where'd that come from, and how much did it carry over into this game?
It's just, it's just a lot of, disrespect towards us. A lot of people just think that the West Coast is kind of soft and they don't really deserve to play football. And, it's kind of disrespectful because all guys deserve to play football. Everybody loves football. Like, I came from Alaska. I didn't really care if I was playing football in Alaska or in Alabama. Like, we have such a passion for the game out here. And so when we're put in these great scenes, and it kind of feels like we're kind of being diminished, it's definitely like a hard pill to swallow. So, we definitely want to represent, our region really well.
How does a guy from Alaska develop a passion, an obsession for the game of football?
Well, there's not too much to do in Alaska, so, play little league football and literally it's just one of those things where you just kind of love it, and I remember as a kid, I would imagine myself as America's team, those little documentaries that they had on NFL Network, and every time we won state, I would think about myself being the guy interviewed on a game-to-game basis. So it's just been great. I always loved football from a young age, to the point where I almost cried when my parents was like, if you don't get your grades up, you're not gonna play. And I'm just so it's been it's been a whirlwind. I love this sport. So
by the way, I can confirm there's not a lot to do in Alaska. My brother Kevin has been sick in Alaska for 3 years, right? So there you go, man. As I turn you loose, you're an underdog again in this game.
yeah.
How much have you all talked about that?
We've been an underdog basically all year. There's been games in our own conference that we've been underdogs in. At the end of the day, they're 1, we're 2. So, what is an underdog? You just got to go win the game. When everything's on the line, does it even matter who's the underdog? It's all about execution, all about winning this game and, representing for people that you love and that you respect and who brought you here. So that's what it's all about.
Good seeing you, man.
Good to see you too. Yeah. Yeah, appreciate you, man. How you doing?
Ryan Hill and Ryan.
Right. Nice to meet
I know you've told your story many times, so I want to go through a little bit the walk-on story.
you. Yeah.
Out of high school, what was the interest you had from schools?
I had offers from Robert Morris and NAU, and by the time it was time to make a decision, I think the staff at NAU or at Robert Morris got fired, so it really left me with NAU, and I just kind of felt like I wanted to take a risk, take a chance, and kind of talked to my parents and asked them if I could walk on and they can pay some tuition a little bit, and they believed in me, and I really appreciate that. And how I got to Washington was that I literally did my research. I was researching every single Pac-12 school, and I just felt like Washington was a perfect fit for me. And literally randomly, a week later, their tight ends coach Jordan Powell called me and he said, "We're gonna offer you a preferred walk-on in the middle of class," and I took it. He's like, "Are you sure you don't want to talk to your parents about this?" And I'm like, "I think they'll be fine. I think it'll be a good pick."
Did you reach out to them that you were interested?
I asked my coach to. I don't know if he ever did, but it just kind of, I guess they got some word of me. So
Why do you feel you were overlooked in high school?
I had a lot of talented players. I played with the number 1 linebacker in the country. I played with the number 1 tight end in the country, number 1 QB in the country. As high school players, it's just kind of how it happens. It's out of my control, but I knew I was a good player, and I knew that I could give a lot to a team. So that's kind of why I wanted to walk on. But it's just the way the cards were dealt. I don't really like to think about it too much, but it's just, it is what it is.
Back then, even in the best case scenario, did you envision this?
Man, you kind of you visualize it, you imagine them, but you obviously know that a lot of this is out of your control, and a lot of this is, it's hard to do, but you always work towards it, and it's definitely a blessing to be here. But to say that when I walked in here on campus that I was going to be at the national championship, probably not. Probably had a lot more objectives, of course, but this is awesome. This is definitely something that we've been working towards for a long time. So. Man, no, I did not. I just remember sitting in the middle row, basically the middle row of the front row of the team meeting room, and everybody jumping on me and breaking the chair, and I literally sit in that chair every single day, So it was a special moment just being able to call my parents and tell them that they don't got to pay tuition no more because we played out of state and that's really expensive. It was just a special moment. That's a special moment, and it just made me, very grateful and more inspired to keep going, you know, and not just be like a guy that got on scholarship and then it just kind of like plateaus for the rest of his career. I like to think that, you know, I got better from that moment. So
Yeah, might have been asked about this already. 5 starters on defense, 6 new guys, 7
Yeah.
starters, offensive defense. Why do you think that is? Why did all you guys come back together? And then the other thing is, how much does that help you guys when you're playing this stretch of close games like this?
well, I think injuries have a lot to play in the part that why all of us are at year 6. But you know, at the end of the day, uh, Coach DeBoer coached us. You know, he recruited the heck out of us, and you know, we have a lot of gratitude to him. And then just a belief in ourselves and a belief in this team and a belief that we can get something like this done, kind of like kept us all together and made us not want to go to the league or to, you know, enter the transfer portal. You know, because we believed in this program, we believed in this team, and we wanted, you know, this moment to happen for this team and this university. I think I give that more to this staff, you know, because there's been a lot of times where I've lost those close games with other staffs, and you know, just the way that we're brought up, where we can just be resilient, you know, no matter what type of situation that we're in. I give a lot of credit to Coach Matt, Coach DeBoer, and the staff in terms of just being able to like mentally be ready for any type of thing that goes our way.
So Michigan has proven throughout the season to have a very good offensive line.
Yeah.
But your offensive line for your team won the Joe Moore Award.
Correct.
How do you think practicing against them every single day helped you prepare for this moment?
I mean, yeah, our offensive line is, you know, very aggressive, they're very fast, and you know, they are one of the best O lines I played, you know. And, you know, I got to give a lot of credit to Michigan's O-line, too, because not only have they been an elite O-line, they've been an elite O-line for years and years. You know, when I played them in 21, they were extremely dominant, and they've only gotten better since then. So, you know, obviously, like, you know, our offensive line, you know, they do an incredible job of just taking care of Mike and give DJ a lot of lanes. But, you know, Michigan has, like, you know, a different sort of scheme, and, you know, Blake Corn's a really lucky running back, you know, to play behind those guys. And, you know, you just got to find your way to decipher that, you know, figure out their schemes, their keys, and, you know, be ready to go. Appreciate it.
So moving forward, the plans with pre-med, I heard?
Yeah, pre-med recs. Just finished the pre-med recs, graduated with a degree in public and global health. I want to do pediatrics, you know, I want to take care of kids and stuff. So, yeah, that's kind of, you know, the main goal. And then obviously I want to start doing a little things like internationally in terms of just like shrinking health disparities in certain communities. So lots of work to do after football.
But still want to keep playing football, I know.
Of course, as long as possible. So, yeah.
But when you look back at your story, just the totality,
Yeah.
what makes you most proud and what stands out to you just when you think about it?
I think as a freshman, like I had all these big goals and, you know, like, oh, I want to play football. I want to like do all this. And then I want to go to med school and do all those other things. And like towards that process, there was a lot of times where I'm just thinking to myself, like, man, this is hard. Like, I don't know how people do this. Like, this makes sense why people can't do both. And just to be able to get to this point and to say that I'm like in a very comfortable position of being able to accomplish both those things it's a whirlwind, you know, and it's just a testament to, you know, the man upstairs for always taking care of me and always, you know, keeping me in my good spirits and, you know, just not giving up, you know, not letting anybody tell you what you can and can't do, because the world will tell you what you can't do, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's all God and it's all His will, you know, it's no one else's will. So I'm very grateful, just very grateful at all.
Just very last question. What was the moment in Washington where you did I can do some stuff?
I would say the Oregon State game my sophomore year, where I was still a walk-on and the starting Mike got hurt, and I was literally the only linebacker left, and so I basically had a great game, won like Conference Player of the Week, and I thought like, okay, like I might actually be as good as I think I am. So it's that was a pretty special moment. Thank you.
Hey Eddie, you mentioned Oregon State, and looking at this year's game against Oregon State, this is a team that came in with a pretty good running back.
Yeah.
And you guys battled even in the ring.
Yeah.
What's it take to slow down a good running team?
you have to be very precise with your fits. You know, you got to understand every single scheme, because at the end of the day, like when you play like dominant running teams, like they're gonna do their job. You know, their pulls are gonna be super tight, they're gonna be super crisp, and the running backs aren't just gonna let you get tackled. So, you know, at the end of the day, you got to be able to know what type of schemes you're fitting. You got to know what your D line is doing, and you got to be able to go downhill and play fast. You know, you can't just be stagnant and playing back and kind of let things come to you, because that's when they get their yards. And you know, it's always about nipping things in the bud. Don't let things prolong, and don't let drives get elongated, because that's when they get you. So it's always about, being disciplined, getting them down immediately, and not letting them gas you.
That's going to be a key Monday, isn't it?
A huge key, for sure.
How much fun was that at the UW? We were down here in Houston. We saw the video, but it was like boys in the boat over again with the crowd sending you off. How special was that moment?
I mean, it's incredible. It's an absolutely incredible, and I've heard stories about what it's like when UW is at its best, and just to be able to see the city send us off that way is special, and it's the reason why I came here, because I love, like, when I say I love Husky Nation, I really do. When I'm watching the old games and I'm seeing like the culture, the '85 Orange Bowl, the '91 Rose Bowl, when you see those games, and you can just tell why there's such a thick culture and a thick, rich love and passion for Husky football here. And, as a player, understanding that, I take a lot of pride in being able to give my best effort and putting my best foot forward, because the fans deserve it. Like the city deserves it. This place means the world to me. So, I take it to heart. I really do.
Last question for me. Total team scores, but you guys have won 10 straight now by 10 or few points. You broke that stat. How key are those 9 guys on the team that have played on this team for 6 years, having veterans on the field on those big moments like that? How key is that?
I think we just have a lot of experience of not winning those close games, and just like through reflecting and understanding, like, what could we have done different in the past. Playing 6 years, you play a lot of games, you've been in a lot of scenarios, but you start to learn and you get to improve, and that's like the most important thing. Like, we've gone to improve week in and week out, and although we would rather win by 20 for the rest of these games, but being in these close games, like, it allows us to being able to execute at a high pressure, at a high level consistently. So I wouldn't have it any other way, but it's just we try to play our best game every single time we get out there.
Eddie, just how does that experience of those close games this season, defense coming up big, how does that prepare you for a national championship game?
Prepares us a lot. Understanding that at this point, every single team is talented, and at the end of the day, it's always who wants it more. Obviously, I'm not expecting for a blowout or anything but that, but like, I'm expecting 12 rounds. I'm expecting a team to give us their best punch, and we're gonna give them our best punch. And at a game basis, anything can happen, and just there's gonna be a moment in the game where it's gonna be super intense, super high, and someone's gonna win the game. And that's kind of where my mindset's at.
Steve talked about its belief level all season and how that's reflected on the field. What does that look like in the days heading up to the national championship?
Just the mindset of just, like, it's still another game. It's still another 60-minute game, and that, you have to win it. Like, there's no titles before this game. You know what I mean? So it's always about doing your job, keeping the main thing, and just, like, not making the moment bigger than it needs to be.
What's one thing that you hope to show on the field Monday night?
Just the heart to passion. My last game in college, the only thing I want to show is that I gave it my all. There's nothing left after this for me, so I'm gonna make sure that every single snap will count.
If you look up at the scoreboard and Washington has more points than Michigan, national champion by the end of the night, what went right for the Huskies?
Ask me that question on Monday.
Repping the Pac-12 in the last hurrah. How important is that for you?
It's huge because, there's a lot of pride in being a West Coast team. There's a lot of, stigma towards it about whether we're soft or, what this or what that means. But, we have a tremendous pride. Like, our families come here, a lot of people on this team are from the West Coast. So not only are we playing, for the University of Washington, but we're playing for, the people that are from Cali, the people are from Arizona, and that, there's a certain stigma that's aligned to it. We take a lot of pride in where we're from, and that, we have a lot of people on our back. Yeah.
What was that moment like when you got put on scholarship? Like, how did that whole process go about?
Man, so It was literally right after Pete retired, and I kind of thought that I was gonna get it because he just left. But the first team meeting, coach kind of walks up and he's talking about like dogs, and he starts to mention me, and like it's kind of going over my head about what's going on in the moment, but like he pauses, and I'm like, that's when I finally clicked. And then once I didn't even think I heard him say that I got put on scholarship. The next thing I just knew that the whole team was just like on me, celebrating with me, and it was just a special moment. Like to this day, like I still sit in that chair to that very day, and it just meant a lot because I worked, at that point I worked my butt off just to, be recognized as like a respectable player on the team, and to get on scholarship just meant like I got a lot of respect from a lot of people, so it meant the world to me.
What was the biggest difference in terms of like being a walk-on versus being on scholarship beyond just not having to pay for those checks?
I mean, like mentally, nothing, because I always wanted to play at the highest level possible. And whether I was a walk-in or not, I was always trying to be better, always trying to be the best player that I can be. Now, the checks were very, very important during the process of that. Not having to ask my dad for tuition every 10 weeks was pretty sweet. And it's just, honestly, my mindset before and after the scholarship was just not letting the scholarship be like the peak of my career, and always just trying to get better and always trying to bring another step to my game. After that, I just try to be the best player, that I can be, whether that's like be a starter, be an all-conference player, be an all-American, whatever those goals would be, just take it to the next step in everything that you do.
And how special has this run been, given so many guys have been either in your recruiting class or kind of thereabouts, all those efforts?
Means the world, just being here for 6 years, understanding that it's been a long ride, been on a 4-8 team, lost a head coach, lost a lot of brothers during this ride, and just be able to finish strong. And this is the strongest we ever finished. And being able to, I came from a Rose Bowl. My first year was the Rose Bowl. So, like, in my head, I'm thinking to myself, like, however I got in, I got to give it back. And to be able to give this back on my last year, it means the world. And it means that, I really appreciated the people that have came before me. Appreciate it. Yep. It was great. It was a great time out there, I thought we were coming too. I know, but it's all good. Shout out to Florida State, It's Florida State's fault we didn't go to the Rose Bowl. Yeah, I know. It's going good. Oh, you don't want to get on the stage, That's crazy. My favorite question? The one that you're about to ask me? Oh, what's the question you're gonna ask me? You said what? For the story? I don't like that question. I don't like it that much. It's. I mean, technically, I would lie if I didn't say that though. So technically, it is my favorite question. I mean, I guess I have to. I don't have a choice, do I? Okay. What's up, Husky Nation? It's Edefuan Ulofoshio. We're here at Houston, Texas for CFP Championship Media Day, and having a blast, getting a lot of work done today. So, tune in. Thank you, man. You're a beast. Shout out to you. You're great. Yeah.
Can you tell me about your childhood in Alaska?
My childhood in Alaska. Oh my gosh. I would say very uneventful, but very eventful at the same time. Went to Huffman Elementary. There's been a lot of days where I go on the bus and then like I'll see a moose like right in front of my house, and I'm just like, I guess I'm not going home right now, and I just have to take a block around and see if it's gone. But it was cool. It's a very beautiful state. A lot of times where, like went skiing with the friends, ice skating all the time. Big basketball town. So like everybody had hoop dreams. I had crazy hoop dreams. I'm thinking I'm going to be the next Carlos Boozer or something like that. And I think in high school football in Alaska is like college football out here. Like every single school has their little like culture and stuff like that. And it's like mad rivalries, and it's just a big scenic event. So it was a blast.
How did your family end up in Alaska in the first place?
Oof, well, long story short, my uncle, which is like my dad's older brother, was in Alaska, and so when my dad went to the States, his uncle, like my uncle, was there, and so he just followed him there.
Where was your dad living before that?
Nigeria,
Okay.
Nigeria.
Okay. Did it feel like home to you, or were you always kind of drawn to maybe the football culture in the rest of the United States?
I mean, I loved football, from like a very young age. Like I was telling someone earlier, like my favorite TV show was literally NFL Network, NFL Game Day. So I'd always be watching that. Like I'd be imagining myself in like championship seasons I had when I was a kid, as like the America's Team documentaries all the time. And so it was only until like when I got older when I realized that kind of like the business of football in terms of getting recruited and trying to get to the next level, that Alaska wasn't really the greatest fit for me structured at the time. And that's when I kind of wanted to take my talents to the lower 48 just to see what I can do. But I always loved Alaska. I always loved, what that state did for me. So
What did your dad do for a living in Alaska?
he does real estate. He owns a couple of apartments across Alaska, and he does healthcare as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then I thought you were going to say like he hunts moose or something like that.
Nah, not at all.
That's illegal.
Nah, he's a fisher though. He'll fish, but not hunting. No, we don't do that.
So when you go to Bishop Gorman,
Yeah.
did you leave your family in Alaska, or how was that dynamic working out?
Well, my mom was doing her practicum in Vegas, so I kind of just hitchhiked with her, and so we lived in Vegas for about half a year, and then my little brothers came, and my dad came as well. So it was only like a 6-month span where it was just me and my mom.
And I'm assuming the decision to go to Bishop Gorman was because
It was my decision for sure, because I was gonna go to Liberty, and I already watched Snoop and Son, so I already kind of knew the football scene in Vegas, and I was like, there's no way I'm going to Vegas and not going to Gorman. So
and you wanted to win a championship and you wanted to get noticed by scouts,
correct.
by
That
college
was
coaches.
yeah, 100%.
You won a high school championship, right?
Yep.
What do you remember about that?
Oof. I just remember how hard it was. I remember my coach telling me that, like, in the middle of the summer, where it's like, you're going to win this championship, either you're going to be with us or I'm going to drag you to the mountaintop. And I just remember that, through, like, the most adverse moments that we were able to pull out wins. We played a lot of talented teams back then. Played St. Thomas Aquinas and bubble blocked the freaking game-winning field goal. Just been a lot of times where you're just put in that, like, adverse situations, and, like, it takes a amount of connectedness to your teammates, a lot of love and camaraderie. You got to be close. It's not just about having talented players. You got to have players that like each other. You got to have staff that works together. It takes a whole village to be in places like this. So
Was there a culture shock being in Las Vegas at first? Because that's a little bit different from where you grew
it's just so hot. It's so hot. Like, being from Alaska, I didn't understand what it's like to be in Vegas in the summer, but like to live there. It's actually kind of terrible. But but I mean, culture in the sense that I would say Alaska is more outdoorsy. There's a lot of things you can do outdoors. Vegas is kind of like business, like flashing lights everywhere. Everything's moving fast. It's like at a faster pace, and the people moving that way either. And that's not like a knock on them or anything. That's just what it is, and it's just two different cultures for sure.
Last thing I got for you, so you win a high school state championship.
Yep.
You're a win away from a college football national championship.
Yep.
Have you wrapped your mind just around how, like, at each step of the way, at each level, you're getting to the highest point?
A little bit. It's definitely coming from a place like Gorman. Makes like games like this like conceptually easier to comprehend. But at the end of the day, like, the game hasn't even started yet. There's no winners yet. And we gotta have to earn it. We're playing a great Michigan team, and we're not gonna look over that because, like, oh, I won a national championship in high school, and like we're in a national championship now. Every game must be earned. Every king will be crowned. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of work to do. A lot of game planning, a lot of scheme things that we can get better at right now, so we can be in the best position to win that game on Monday.
I do appreciate you.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
You started playing basketball and then switched over to football.
Yeah.
So when did you just essentially, when you made that switch over to football, when did you know that CFP was
Oof. So playing, so the reason why I switched to football really was because I was moving to Gorman, and Gorman's also a great basketball school, and I realized that like the way my height is going, it's not gonna end out very well for me. So I thought football was just the best route. Uh, you go to like these super high prep schools. I think there's a good benefit to it because you're playing, for like the highest rewards and stuff. And so you would get to these moments. I think like as a kid, you always want to win championships and you always try to push it. And to get to this point, and it wasn't just me. There's like a lot of teammates, and you have to have camaraderie. You have to have players that they really like each other, and they all have the focus of winning. When you see teams that are go like 8-5, like 7-6, like they have talented players, but there's a lot of focus on other things. I've seen it with my own eyes, or it's just like leadership, whereas it's like you see something wrong, but either you don't feel like it's your place, or you just simply just don't care, or you just don't want to acknowledge it because you want to get chores. And I think the difference with this team is that we're always holding each other accountable. We're always striving to be the best, and we're always trying to win games. And I think it's a huge testament to Coach DeBoer and this staff because that was like the first thing they instilled when they got here, being a player-led team. That's super important in college football today. And it just means the world. It means the world to be in this moment.
This is year 10 of CFP.
Year 10.
This is going to be the last year that it's 14.
Yeah.
So what does it mean to you that last year?
It's a special moment. It's a special moment because not to say that it's going to be easier going forward, but it's definitely a lot harder getting into this moment now. And, the filter of the best teams, you're playing the best teams. That's as simple as that. Everybody gets a month off, obviously in the future. I mean, injuries are going to happen. You might not get the best teams, or you may get your best teams. So just being able to get this like super exclusive group and be a part of this is definitely it's definitely great to be a part of college football history. I do. It was Oregon getting blown up by Ohio State, but it was a cool experience. It was definitely new from the BCS system. I don't remember it crazy well, but it was definitely a unique thing to see. Yeah. Thank you.
You talked earlier about
Yeah.
growing up watching NFL Game Day and like
Yeah.
seeing yourself in championships and seeing yourself now that you're here, now that you're at the mountaintop, how does this moment compare to what you dreamed about as a kid? What does this mean to you? What does this experience?
It's a lot more business than I thought it would be. A lot more meetings, a lot more staff. But it's awesome. But it's absolutely a blast, and I wouldn't have any other way. Because you strive to get to these moments. You wouldn't. It comes with the good and the bad and the ugly, and there's been a lot of adversity that comes to getting to this point. But it's been a ride, and I think that's what it's all about. Being able to, work your butt off, work your tail off, and to get to this point. And even if you don't get to this point, it's the fact that you tried and you made the effort to. And I think that us as a team, we all came together and came to the conclusion that like this is our goal, this is what we're gonna do. That's what the slogan "Us versus Us" is all about. Like we have the opportunity to get to a point like this, but because of like the skills that we had, like every team can beat us and we can beat every team, and it's up to us to make that decision. So making that decision to put your 4 foot forward and try to compete and try to win every game that you can, and it starts by winning every rep, in the weight room, in winter conditioning, and in certain like literally every aspect. So it's been great. It's been great. Thank you.
Hey, so lighter question for you.
Yeah.
Obviously Sugar Bowl and the national championship. What's
Yeah.
been the best kind of bowl swag's kind of a weird way to say for the championship, but what swag have you liked so far as a player?
Man, well, it's kind of hard to say that because Damian Lillard just came yesterday and just decked us out in a whole bunch of swag. So I would definitely say the swag that we got last night. We got like 3 jump shoots. We got 3 pairs of shoes. We got like a couple hats and like a couple sets. So like that was pretty hard to beat. That like what happened last night was pretty hard to beat. But it's just honestly it's just like kind of just like the vibe and experiences. It's just kind of like it's like a level up. It's like when you're playing a video game and then like you unlock something, then you get like that fresh gear. That's kind of what it's like, you know. It's just that next level, that next juice. So
I love it. Like so many of you guys have said, you really sweat it.
yeah, no, these are hard. Yeah,
We've seen what Michael can do on the field. We've
yeah.
also seen him show up at the Heisman Trophy ceremony with every player's tattoos on the inside of the jacket. What has he meant for this team?
It's meant the world. You know, like when I say that he came in here just like putting his head down and working, that's exactly what he did. You know, and like it was kind of like in the spring where, you know, we're watching film and then Mike makes a certain throw and I'm sitting there. He's like, who made that throw? I'm like, yeah, that was Mike. I was like, yeah, how about no one touch number 9 for the rest of spring ball? And just, you know, he's so down to earth. You know, he's a person that, you know, that he's very approachable. He's going to give you the best advice, and you know that he loves his team, you know, authentically. You know, there's no superstar in him. You know, he's really just a humble guy who just wants the ball. And, you know, I think we all follow him in that sense.
How has this team used being an underdog the last few games as motivation and fuel?
I mean, I think that's just kind of the culture of this team. You know, like we don't have crazy 5 stars. Like the tradition of Washington is just people that get their head down and they work. You know, and they just try to win everything because that's what, you know, that's what this is all about. It's about winning. It's not about how many stars you have, you know, how much money you got. You know, football is all about, you know, who scores more points at the end of the day. And that's kind of what, you know, we embody, and that's kind of what that's kind of what we're all about. You know, it's not about all that. You know, we're trying to win games, and, you know, who's with us or who we got is all we need at the end of the day. So
What would winning a national title mean to you?
would mean the world. You know, it would mean the absolute world. You know, just because, you know, this university hasn't won it in such a long time, and, you know, they talk about how great those moments are, and, you know, the fact that we've gone through much as a program just in like the past 4 years, it would mean the absolute world to be able to get that thing done and finish out strong. And, you know, that being my last college football game would be a pretty sweet ending as well. So appreciate it.
What's the average winner temp? It's always below freezing.
Ooh.
Like the high always below freezing.
I say the high is probably like 25. To be honest, it's bad. It's bad. At its peak, it's really bad. Like there's a few days where it's below, for surely below 0. Yeah. Yeah.
Eddie, how are you doing?
Doing great.
It's not often probably that you see an offense like this that probably doesn't care to hide what they want to do to you. They just want to run it down your throat, and they're going to tell you that, and then they're going to try to do it. How excited does that make you, just knowing that it's going to be a physical confrontation and that kind of matchup?
I mean, it's just it's best of the best. It's mano a mano. You know, it's a 12-round fight, and, you know, it's always exciting to be able to play those games and just, you know, line up, play ball, and just, you know, see which one's really better. You know, at the end of the day, that's kind of what you play football for. It's, you know, what we did as little kids. You know, which one's better. You know, none of the tricky, rinky-dink stuff. So, you know, give a lot of credit to that team. You know, they fight hard. You know, obviously being in Ann Arbor, you know, I know all of what they're about. You know, they're aggressive, they're tough. You know, they're gonna show you what you're gonna do. You know, they're gonna try to punch you in the face. They're gonna come up with a game. They're gonna have a sledgehammer, and they're gonna go for the head. So, you know, I'm definitely know what they're, you know, all about.
You mentioned it. You were there 2.5 years ago.
Yeah.
You guys were a very different team, and they did exactly what they wanted to do. They
Yeah.
ran 340 yards.
Yeah.
How much different do you feel like like you are, and everybody around you is that kind of lived through that experience?
I mean, that's the thing. I mean, we all know until we play, right? But at the end of the day, like, it's always about maturity and about growth. And, you know, I think this team has grown exponentially since then, you know, in terms of just, like, just going into certain environments, you know, with, like, certain brands and just being able to, like, not play inferior, which is something that, you know, I always talk to Coach DeBoer about, like, when he first initially got here and what we had to cut out. And, you know, being able to play and compete at a high level regardless of who we're playing, you know, and just that, like, truly playing the game of football for what it's worth and not trying to put yourself at a disadvantage about who you're playing, you know. So, you know, this time around, you know, we're going to be a more confident team. You know, we're going to be a team that, you know, is going to, you know, really try to win and really try to, you know, compete for everything that we can get. So.
This is finally your last game with
Yeah.
Had a lot of laughs along the way.
A lot of potential last ones for sure. So
Does it feel like it? Does it feel like, okay, this is coming to an end for me, or is that not kind of something?
it really hasn't, but I know it will, and it's been amazing. It's been an amazing ride, and I think this is a great way to end it. Not gonna lie, a pretty sweet way to end it. But you know, there's a lot of work to do, and on Monday, the game's gonna go, and then after the game, there might be a few tears shed, but you know, it's just right now it's just work, just as usual, work as usual. So
I want to ask you one random question. I talked to
Yeah.
Newton for a while.
yeah,
A guy who was the man here and just had to kind of accept a reduced role.
yeah,
And it seems like he's been a great teammate along the way, and not everybody can stay through that.
yeah.
What have you seen from him in terms of being a teammate and being that consummate person throughout? It's got to be kind of a complicated situation.
I mean, it's hard. I mean, it's definitely hard for Rich to, go through what he went through. I mean, like, we literally, I think we did our knee like roughly around the same time. And so, for him to be able to, not only help me throughout my process, but to help, other players and, to bring people along. Like, it takes a village. Like, I don't take it lightly when I say that, like, we're not here without people like Rich. We're not here without people like Mason Wheeler or Teddy you know what I mean? Because like it takes everybody to be able to do their job and to accept their role like full-heartedly. And it just means the world, for Rich to be able to be with us because like it helps me because I'm from his class and like it keeps us together. It keeps our chemistry going. So, it's definitely huge. It is definitely a huge sacrifice that he gave for us. Going on. I mean, they're right here. They're right here.
We gotta ask, plane ride this time, any gifts for like next year on the way down?
yeah.
You see him on the field last week?
I didn't get to. All right.
That's like kind of a fun question. I saw your name. I'm like, that's impossible.
Impossible.
Well, I mean, that's a mouthful.
Yeah.
So, you can do me a favor. How do you say your name?
Edefuan Ulofoshio.
Does anybody ever get it right on the first take?
No, not at all. Waiting on the first one, but yeah.
So, how do people normally try to say it if they're trying to be nice about it?
They say, sorry. They say Edefuan. I remember Coach Pete like completely butchering it during like a team meeting, and so like the next day he like put a tape recorder to my mouth. He's like, "Can you like pronounce your name the right way?" And so he got it right after that. But I just thought it was like super funny and stuff. So
What does it mean?
the first name means the sun is risen, and the last name means not afraid of war. So
Not afraid of war? What heritage is it?
it's Nigerian. Yeah.
What about your middle name?
Omoefe, it really just means I'm like my dad's son. So it's that's basically it.
So I have one more thing. You're a 6-year senior?
6-year senior, yeah.
Okay, I know this team has a lot of other guys live, and we're seeing now all over college football,
Yeah.
5 and 6 and 7th year players
Yeah.
in some instances. Is it ever, well, first of all, speak to the advantages that gives you guys, having been in the college game now
Yeah.
for 4 and 5 and 6 years.
Well, I think it's give and take. I think the advantage, you get to have your degree, and then you can get the work on like your masters and like kind of like that second level of football too. Obviously, you get to like build connections in terms of just like with alumni and whatnot. And then from a football perspective, you're just older, you're bigger, and you're more mature, so you can be a better leader. In terms of that, I think kind of the knockoff is that like college football has definitely evolved throughout my 6 years to where like the things I knew in 2019 are completely unapplicable now. So you always have to really improve. Yeah, like the biggest play in 2019 that was like terrorizing everybody was probably split zone. And split zone means nothing today. So it's just like you always have to evolve. You always have to grow and be aware of like the times are changing. But like for me, 6 years, I was able to do a lot of things in terms of just like get my body right, really learn the game after football. And so, you're definitely a lot more prepared, not just like to lead this team, but to be ready for whatever comes ahead.
So are you working on a master's degree?
I just finished my pre-med recs, so that's kind of what I'm working on, yeah.
That's terrific. So, but is there any part of you as a college football player, maybe even a college football fan, when you're seeing a 24, 25-year-old guy out there sometimes playing against a 19-year-old, like, that looks a little weird.
No, when I was young, I would always be like, how about you just, like, declare, just go to the league, like, get out of here. Like, obviously, that was in my head. But, obviously, like, I understand that things happen. Like, obviously, like, 6 years, like, a lot has had to happen for me to get here. But at the end of the day, it's just like, I wouldn't have any other way. That's people's journeys. That's people's past, and you shouldn't knock them for, for how long they've been in or been out. That's just kind of, like, sometimes that's just how the ball is rolled sometimes. So I'm sure if they wanted to, they'd, win 3 national championships and get out immediately. So, but sometimes that's just not the case. So.
Do you ever feel, I asked Michael this, and like I said, because of the COVID thing, that extended a lot of careers. Do you ever feel like the old guy in the room?
Oh, yeah.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. Like
how? Like, what do you see a freshman?
It's almost to the point where I'm getting invited to my own coach's staff meetings. That's how bad it is. So,
that's pretty good.
yeah.
Well, how old are you now?
I'm turning 24 in 2 weeks. So.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for the great
Appreciate it.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
So you say things are involved in life. So now that you all can make money now, is that like a better thing for the players?
I get to pay taxes now, so I'm very excited about that. No, but there's definitely with NIL, you're giving a lot more opportunities. But for me, mentally, I've always wanted to make my brand like my NIL. So I was always invested in like communities. So like the things that I've done with the Make-A-Wish Foundation, with the 4C Coalition, to be able to talk to kids and raise money, for certain diseases. That's what I'm all about, and that's what I've been able to do. And like it kind of helps me in my post-football career as well. So it's kind of why I put my head towards.
So your next level, once you say you're gonna be a doctor, you think you
Want to work in pediatrics, after football. So that's kind of the plan. Yeah, appreciate it. super excited. I always wanted to meet this guy.
Yeah,
What's going on,
Dude,
man?
it's been a blast covering you. 4 easy ones for social media.
Yeah.
What's your favorite sports movie?
My favorite sports movie? Remember the Titans.
Ooh, there we go.
Yep.
The go-to hype song for Eddie Ulofoshio pregame.
Oh my gosh. From Adam by the game.
Okay.
Yep.
Game, there we go.
Yep.
If Coach DeBoer had an NIL deal, what would it be?
Gosh. Oh my gosh. That's a hard one. If Coach DeBoer had an NIL deal, probably Chipotle. He loves Chipotle.
Chipotle,
Yeah.
there we go. And who's the most underrated dude on this team? Who doesn't get enough credit?
Oof. Who doesn't get enough credit? I feel like our D linemen, Tuli and Latuli Gasanoa and Tui Fatui Tele. They don't get enough credit.
Love it. Thanks, man.
Appreciate you. Yep, thank you. What's going on?
Sorry to bother you. I know you've been up here an hour already.
No, it's all good.
Just wondering, what is it? Several walk-ons have shown several walk-ons play a prominent role.
Yeah.
What is it about this culture that has allowed y'all to find?
You know, I wouldn't even have been here without the works of Ryan Bowman and Miles Bryant. You know, two walk-ons that were able to get a lot of playing time. And to be honest, I don't really know what it was, but like when I came here, I just thought that the University of Washington, like, they didn't really care about stars. They just cared about like performance and just like winning. And so like it was really important for me to go to a program that like developed players and like made sure that like, you know, not only are you going to be a great football player, but you're going to be a great man. And I think I was able to like accomplish both those things. And so when I came here, I was able to like learn my skills, hone into my talents, and like really maximize myself as a player. Now I was still a walk-on, but you know I really definitely never felt like a walk-on. You know, in terms of just like the culture of the team. You know, and that meant a lot to me.
You mentioned like this is a program that doesn't really care about stars. Is
Yeah.
that ingrained in the mentality? Like how would you say that manifests?
I mean, it's just always about finding the right guys, and I think it starts with like you know the OKGs, you know, from Pete's era. You know, it's always about finding the right people who are going to be, you know, always about trying to win, doing the right things, and being disciplined. You know, like obviously they're gonna, if an OKG is a 5-star, they're gonna, you know, give OKG a 5-star. But sometimes that's not the case, and it's always about finding the right fits to the team. And you know, and obviously once you get there, you still got to prove yourself. You still got to, you know, develop as well. And so, you know, just being able to, you know, have a staff that like really focuses and hones in on developing and educating is super huge, you know, to the success of a program.
So what you're saying is you would take Jalen Whitcomb most days?
Oh yeah, any day of the week.
And kind of in that vein, this is such an experienced roster. I think everybody starts as a fourth-year senior or fourth-year player. What's allowed y'all to stay together?
Man, just in this era, to be honest, it's just the belief in each other, and just having a staff that, you know, that really, you know, hones in and like really believes in each other. You know, I think it's super important for a coaching staff to really all like each other, like not just on paper, but like they hang a lot, like they hang out a lot. You know, they're always in the stadium, they're always working, and they're always focusing on winning. I think just having a program like that that's always focused on winning allows us to buy in more as players, and you know, just us being together for a long time and us really having that camaraderie and us really like loving and appreciating each other allows us to stay together because we wouldn't want to be with anybody else.
This time last year, what would you say, like 10 players that had an option of staying or going to the draft?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of crazy thinking about it, but you know it's been great. You know, it's just definitely been able to. It's just a testament to, you know, our belief in ourselves and our belief that we can get here at this point. So. Yeah.
I'm just wondering, like, what do you remember about that time? Do you like look down at your phone and see like texts that people are coming back? Like, what was that like?
I mean, I was trying to figure out if I was coming back or not.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I'm saying. Like, was there like a massive group text between the guys who were thinking about leaving? Like,
no, honestly, it kind of just happened randomly. Like I thought I decided to come back, and then like 2 days later, Braylon and John have a little group post, and then Rome decides to come back. Like there was no discussion. It was just kind of like we were all thinking at the same time. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how it went.
So it's organic but silent.
Organic but silent. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Hello.
Yeah.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
I'm actually fantastic. I spoke with one of your old coaches, and I'm not going to say who it is because we'll see if he'll figure it out.
Okay.
But he said that you used to try and always beat him in the building in the morning, and you were always trying to be the first guy in.
That's a hard one. That's a hard one.
But I wanted to ask you, is that kind of your mentality that you take, and the season on the team in football in general, and how does that kind of fall into play?
You know, it kind of just started, you know, in fall camp, you know, as a walk-on. It's just hard to get reps as a walk-on, you know, especially when you're young. And so for me, I just needed to visually learn, and I needed to find ways to get better. And so, and there's so much basically allocated like time towards that like the only time I had that was free time that was like worth me developing was like early in the morning. So it really started out just me trying to improve myself, but you know, eventually it became a thing where like I had to get earlier, and then like my coaches were kind of like why are you doing here so early and stuff. So it's just that's kind of how it developed into it.
Do you think that that's served you well, you know, throughout your career now?
Absolutely. You know, the early bird gets the worm. I think Coach Pete gave me a book called The Slight Edge. And so basically one of the like main disciplines of the book was just like, one, if you keep churning, or, you know, like eventually like that little pot of whatever it is will turn to butter and it'll like stiffen up. And so it's basically just like stacking, you know, keep getting better little by little by little by little. And like eventually, you know, what I was able to like produce was just like a pretty solid career for myself. So I definitely give a lot of credit to, you know, Coach P in that book, and definitely, you know, definitely just like, you know, the consistent work I was able to put out.
Would you give that advice to other walk-ons?
100%. You know, 100%. Be the first guy in the building. Always like get better, and just, you know, like you have to want to get better by yourself. You know, like even though you're not gonna get like the praise and like, you know, the gold, like the roses and stuff, like, you know, it's always about like your progression, and you got to be really, you know, satisfied by how you're growing. That's all it's about.
Well, I'll tell you, Coach, it was Junior Adam.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
You want to give him a little shout out?
He was super. Shout out to June, man. But yeah, super hard to beat. You know, he's always there. Super hard to beat. But yeah, I got him a couple times. But yeah, he works his tail off. So shout out to June. Thank you.
Curious, is it weird thinking this is like you're going to play the last football game in Pac-12 history?
It is. It's super weird because it's just like it doesn't even feel real, because like we're not disbanding as a university. We're just going to the Big Ten. So it's just kind of sad, just because like it's gonna make a lot of, you know, like traveling harder for a lot of families. But you know, this Pac-12 had a lot of rich traditions, and you know, it's a special place, and you know, it means the world to me. I love the Pac-12. I absolutely would have my kids playing the Pac-12 if it still existed. But you know, it's just, you know, it's a good thing. It's a good way to send them out strong. You know, I'm very happy that, you know, in the last year that a Pac-12 team were able to get back to this point. So wouldn't have it any other way.
What in particular did you love about playing in the Pac?
The rivalries, you know, like even though we had Wazoo, but like I always loved the Oregon State rivalry, or the Arizona State rivalry, or the fact that like UCLA and USC had their things, and then like we played. There's certain history and historical moments between those two teams, between certain teams in the Pac-12, that just made it special. And then when we went to go play teams in the SEC or the Big Ten, like we're always rooting for each other. Like, shoot, when Oregon beat Ohio State, I wasn't an Oregon hater that day, you know. So it's gonna be a little bit different, you know.
Yeah, obviously, you know, 3 of those schools are coming with
Yeah.
You know, to the Big Ten.
Yeah.
But it almost feel different when you play them, because you're not in the Pac, or you think it'll still feel like the old rivalry?
I think those rivalries will still be the same, but it's gonna be a little bit different, you know, because we're all gonna be in the same pot, and it's gonna be definitely a different atmosphere, a different feeling. It just won't be the same. It definitely won't be the same.
Is it like, are you like kind of staring at your future a little bit here, Big Ten logos and all this stuff here? Like,
It's kind of funny. It's kind of funny based off, you know, the two teams that are playing this game are going to be in the same conference. So I think it's kind of unique that that's the case. So.
Yeah, I'm curious for you. You know, a lot of programs, and talking about NIL, around the country have gone the direction of like, you know, maybe paying a lot of money for a high school kid, or things like that, and that kid comes in the locker room and everyone kind of knows that kid got money.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes today's Media Day. For those members of the media who took transportation from the Media Hotel, departures will begin shortly in the same location as drop-off.
You know, in this NIL time.
Yeah. I mean, first of all, I don't think you should be counting people's pockets. I think that's the first problem of how you get a lot of turmoil in the locker room. But at the end of the day, it's just like you need like programs need players to win games, and so when you're getting the best players, I can't knock a program for paying a player XYZ when you already have players, because you're trying to always develop and trying to improve. So it's hard. It's definitely a loaded question, but it's just part of the, it's part of the business. And I'm happy that I don't have that responsibility to give that job out, but I'm not gonna knock another kid for getting paid more than what I'm getting paid. I'll knock him if he's not working as hard as me, or if he's not contributing. But that has nothing to do with how much money he's getting, because he has needs as well as I do. So can't knock him on that. Yeah.
Great point. Last question would be, what has it been like having Courtney Morgan with the program the last 2 years? What has he added as that role of general manager?
One of the things I remember from Court was just, he talked about, he came from Michigan's first playoff year. And he was just talking about, like, you guys can be in that same position, but, like, what it takes is camaraderie, what it takes is work. And so although he kind of works upstairs, he kind of gave us one of the most important, coaching points, for the program in terms of just connectivity and just being able to, be together and be able to strive to win games. So he means a lot to this program. He definitely improved a lot with him.
Has fueled you along the course of this season. How has that elevated you guys to a next level, to an opportunity where you're here competing for a national title?
I'm taking this. I'm taking this. We got those four walls. We know we got the locker room. So we're brought in like that. Nothing can stop us, honestly.
Anything you want to tell the Washington faithful before you head out of here?
Go Huskies.
Thanks so much, everybody, for coming out to the 2024 College Football Playoff National Championship Media Day. I hope you enjoyed listening in on all of the coaches and players. Make sure you stick around. Check out some of the fan activations. And if you do get a picture with the National Championship Trophy, or you're running the 40-yard dash, use the hashtag CFP Playoff. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a great day.
Fans, don't forget to join us all weekend for Playoff Fan Central. Playoff Fan Central, located right here at the George R. Brown Convention Center, offers a wide array of family-friendly entertainment and interactive experiences that'll put you right in the middle of the action as we celebrate the pinnacle of the college football season. Admission is free. Just download the CFP Playoff mobile app on your Apple or Android